Hi, my name is Jay Lytle. I'm a second-year student here at the College of Optometry. And this room that you're sitting in is where I spend most of my waking hours. Normally I sit right about where Dr. Toole is right now. And just appreciate the invitation to be able to speak. I feel like I'm a perfect reason why InfantSEE is so important. I have a prosthetic right eye. And the reason that I have a prosthetic right eye is because I had retinoblastoma as a child. Like it was mentioned several times, retinoblastoma is a cancer that's one of the most common eye cancers among children. And when I was 2 years old, the person who first noticed my retinoblastoma was not my pediatrician. My mother took me to all my regular well baby exams, but the pediatrician never found it. It wasn't a healthcare professional. It was my father who saw a white reflex on my pupil, and that's one of the most common signs of a retinoblastoma. And they took me to Children's Hospital here in Columbus, Ohio, and within the next week they had me in for surgery. Back in 1990, when I was diagnosed, the standard of care then was you remove the eye, because the first priority is to save the life of the child. So they removed my eye, and never had a problem since. My parents were told a lot of misinformation when I was diagnosed. They said he'd never be able to play sports, he'd have trouble in school, he'd have trouble reading, he'd have trouble driving, but none of those things ever took place in my life. My parents, they just decided they weren't going to mention any of those things to me. When I said I want to go play sports, they said, go for it, go play some sports. I was a wide receiver in middle school, captained many intramural basketball teams. I played left field for my church softball team and the leadoff batter. I've never had a problem in school, never had a problem driving. I enjoy reading, so I've never been limited. I'm so thankful for that. I've never had a complication after that diagnosis of retinoblastoma. But I would have been a great candidate for an InfantSEE eye exam, because most retinoblastomas are present at or nearly after birth. It's very likely that I had my cancer for 2 years before it was diagnosed. And like I said, I went to all my well baby exams. But a pediatrician, they will tell you, they don't claim to do complete eye exams. When you take your baby to the pediatrician, they do several eye screening tests for common disorders. But the only way to have a complete comprehensive eye exam is to take your child to an eye care professional like an optometrist. If I would have had an InfantSEE eye exam at 9 months old, they might have detected my tumor over a year earlier. And in 1990, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. I probably still would have lost my eye if they detected it at 9 months. But here in 2012, that can be a big difference if you detect a retinoblastoma at 9 months versus if you detect it at 2 years old, because we do have advanced treatments. Now, the treatment of retinoblastoma, they try very hard to save the child's eye because we do have advanced cancer treatments. So InfantSEE is a great program because it can detect life-threatening disorders. It could save a child's eye, but I think that the benefit of this program, it stretches beyond that child on that day with that InfantSEE exam. Because, like it was mentioned, most InfantSEE exams, the result that's going to come back is your child's completely healthy, I don't find any problems. Well, what it does, it exposes people to the profession of optometry, people who might not be familiar with their local eye care professional. So that when that infant becomes a first grader and they have trouble in school because they just can't see the chalkboard, the optometrist is there to help them. When that infant becomes a teenager and has a very bad red eye case, they can go to their local optometrist and find the care that they need. When that teenager becomes a college student and they have trouble reading textbooks for extended periods of time, and sometimes they get headaches because of it, and their vision goes double or their vision goes blurry, it's their optometrist that's there to help them. When you get into your 40s and your arms just aren't long enough to read the newspaper, it's the optometrist that can solve that problem. And when you get older, maybe you need a cataract evaluation or follow up from a glaucoma procedure. It's the optometrist, their local optometrist, that will be there every step of the way to help them. So I would say that this program is worthwhile for you to be a supporter of because, one, you could find a retinoblastoma. It could save a child's life. It could make it so they don't have to have a prosthetic eye. But more than that, this program makes people aware of a local eye care professional that's willing to help them throughout their life for all of their eye and vision needs.